Welcome to the Mystic Media Channel. I am your host, Rabina Rastaban, aka the Realist Astrologer. And I apologize for being away for over a week or so, but I was traveling once again. Had a really beautiful weekend this past weekend. So I'm all refreshed and I'm ready to go and ready to have some more videos for you. So today I'm just going to talk about some of the uh, items that are in the media right now. So, before I get started, just want to let you know that the dark-sided Libra female video is coming very soon. I'm going to try to post that video sometime this weekend, so either tomorrow or Sunday. So KRS-One is in the news once again. He's at it again with his asinine remarks. Now, I mentioned in my video about KRS-One that he's a 20, which breaks down to 2 in terms of numerology, him being born on August 20th. So that makes him a Leo, but a very soft Leo, and a Leo that is all about preserving family, a legacy, holding tight to a foundation. So the foundation of hip hop and how he considers Africa Bambaataa to be one of the godfathers of hip hop. So in this interview that he gave, he actually said that Africa Bambaataa invented hip hop, which is totally bullshit. So KRS-One is really making a fool of himself at this point in time. And it's all because of his ego, which is brought about through his Leo sun, but also with him being a 2 in terms of numerology. That's a very feminine number. It's a very personalized number. It's very subjective. So he has a hard time being objective when it comes to situations that he cares deeply about. So he has a very strong attachment to Africa Bambaataa because he considers him to be part of his hip hop family. Again, the number 2 dealing with family and clans and tribes and all that stuff. So yeah, he's really holding firm to his belief about Africa Bambaataa being innocent. And basically, he told the people that believe that Africa Bambaataa could be guilty of these allegations to step off or to quit hip hop or whatever. So, KRS-One, at this point, he needs to just shut the hell up. But with that moon in Gemini conjunct his North Node in Gemini, he can't. He can't shut his mouth up. So, moving along. So, I really wanted to get into this recent Leslie Jones scandal and the racist backlash that she's receiving as a result of her starring in the Ghostbusters movie. Now, I haven't seen this Ghostbusters film. I have no desire to see it. The original Ghostbusters was my shit. I love that movie to death. Every time it's on TV, I'm tempted to watch it. It was very funny. I love the paranormal and the supernatural, so that was right up my alley. So that came out when I was about 9 years old. So I was really kind of ticked off when I saw that they did a remake of that. It really wasn't necessary, and I'm sure that it sucks. Anybody who's seen it, leave a comment below and let me know how Leslie Jones did in that film. I probably won't ever watch it. I really don't have any interest in seeing some whack ass remake. So Leslie Jones, basically, I'm asking, is she cooning or is she just clowning? So as of late, she's starred in this Allstate commercial. And while I think she's a funny comedian, I saw one of her stand-up performances, and I thought it was really funny. And some of her material was quite original. So, and in that stand-up routine, I really didn't see her as cooning. But then when I saw her in this Allstate commercial, I was really disappointed because to me, she was cooning in that commercial because basically she pulls up alongside of this white man and she basically scares him shitless because she's like, you want my number? And she does it in a very aggressive and manly type of way. And they have her done up where she's not looking her best. So they really paint her in a negative light in that commercial. So in my view, she's cooning. So let me just break her chart down and her numerologies to put some perspective on this. So she was born on September 7th, 1967. That makes her a Virgo. Now, being born on the 7th, that makes her an artistic Virgo, but also a very soft Virgo. She may not be soft on the surface, but she's soft deep down inside. So she's very vulnerable. 7 can be a very vulnerable number. It's a very spiritual number. It's all spiritual, but it's also one that can make one do very well in the entertainment industry. So they're a natural entertainer or performer. So Virgo and 7 combined can produce many humiliating experiences in a person's life. 7, as I mentioned, is also a number of entertainment and artistic expression. So Leslie has learned to channel this humiliation into a career as a comedian. Part of her forte is making fun of herself. Virgo and 7 can engage in self-deprecating behavior very well. Virgo combined with 7 can essentially be the coon combination, in my professional opinion. So let me break this down for you. So I spoke about Virgo being a sign of servitude, subjugation, and humiliation. It is a humbling sign. I mentioned this in my dark-sided Virgo female video. And the females have it worse than the males when it comes to that humiliation and being humbled. Um, it is one of subservience. It's that yes, I'm boss, indentured servant, sometimes even slave, especially house nigga type of energy. So, like I'm saying, combine the number 7, which is a number of slavery and victimization and bondage, with Virgo, which is a number of subjugation, servitude, and indentured servitude, like I said, and humiliation, and that can produce the perfect recipe for a person who is a coon or behaves in coonish ways at times. So I'm not saying that she's a total coon, but that Allstate commercial, and like I said, I haven't seen her in Ghostbusters, but that Allstate commercial is definitely teetering on the edge of high level coonery. Um, but she knows exactly what she's doing. She's consciously cooning. But when you look at her chart, you can see that this is part of her purpose. She's basically turning lemons into lemonade, whether you agree with it or not, and it has made her successful, and she's quickly becoming a household name. That's her Sun conjunct Pluto. She has Sun conjunct Pluto and Virgo in her chart. So Pluto can bring one to prominence. Sun conjunct Pluto, and with her South Node being in Scorpio, is essentially turning lemons into lemonade, because Scorpio is the waste bin of the zodiac. It is the sign that deals with garbage. It deals with refuse. It deals with waste. It even deals with feces. So anything that deals with the excretory system, urine, feces, even vomit, all of that falls under Scorpio. So anything that deals with things that you no longer find worthless or that you want to throw out, that's Scorpio. So her South Node is at the 0 degree of Scorpio. So that's pure scorpionic energy. So basically, in terms of America's standards of beauty, she is the exact opposite in terms of whether you want to call it white supremacy or whether you want to call it, the Western world's paradigm in terms of standards of beauty. She falls to the extreme left. So that would be, and that could be part of that South Node in Scorpio. Her moon is in Scorpio as well, so she's turning, and her with her North Node being in Taurus, that being the sign of self-worth and values, she's turning what the white man's view is of beauty, she's turning it on its head and deriving value out of making fun of herself and that self-deprecating humor. Now she has Venus and Virgo in trine to her North Node. It's an exact trine. It's in trine to her North Node in Taurus. So Venus and Virgo is very critical in terms of their appearance and in terms of, how they perceive themselves on in terms of standards of beauty. So she basically engages in this self-critical behavior and in turn makes money as a result, because Taurus deals with money, so that North Node in Taurus. So she's actually turning the whole thing on its head and flipping the script. So she's doing this consciously. However, could it still be considered cooning? I believe so. However, she's no dummy with all that Virgo energy that she's carrying. Even still, Virgo is very insecure, and when the limelight is dimmed or cut off completely, will her delicate constitution remain intact? So that's the question here. And she's coming upon her Mars return, and her Mars is in Scorpio, and a critical degree of Scorpio is at 28 degrees, which is a difficult degree to manage. It's a degree, 28 deals with trusting lambs. So Oftentimes, the person might be naive when it comes to the motives and intentions of others. Oftentimes, the person might get caught up in situations where they become victimized because they're not looking both ways, or they're not being conscious of the negative energy that is surrounding them. So she is kind of in a precarious position with all that Virgo energy. And then with the Mars and Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio can be very self-destructive. So with this Mars return that she's experiencing, Mars return basically deals with when transiting Mars um, lands on your natal Mars. So that's the Mars return. So it can signify new beginnings, but Mars is also a sign of conflict, destruction, um, and hate. So this also points to all the hate that she's receiving from racist people as a result of being in this Ghostbusters film. So with this Mars return coming up in the next week or so for her, is she going to self-destruct, or is she going to rise even higher and move beyond her current status and be propelled into the stratosphere in terms of her acting career? So, time will tell. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull a tarot card to see what she has in store. So, before I do that, just a little bit more. So, the asteroid Apollo is right on her sun in Virgo. Apollo can deal with going against all odds, which she's doing, but also being hard headed, not learning from your mistakes and repeating them over and over. In Virgo, it can deal with self-deprecation and humiliation. That could be part of the mistakes that you're constantly making and you're not learning from. So essentially, cooning in terms of her, because like I said, Virgo is about self-deprecation, humiliation. Virgo combined with the number 7 could be energy that deals with cooning. Apollo makes one die hard when next to the sun, so she has the strength to keep forging ahead despite the backlash. However, Virgo has a tendency to produce humbling experiences for an overblown ego. So with this Ghostbuster movie, I'm pretty sure her ego started to, get a little overblown. And then when she received this backlash, she responded with, she was incredulous in her response, basically, not understanding why so many people were throwing hate her way. But she should already expect this, knowing how American society is. But with the asteroid Apollo, one can often be blind to their own folly. Now, the problem essentially is Hollywood and the propaganda that it spreads, of course, and how it denigrates people of color, especially blacks. So she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if she wants to continue a career in Hollywood and if she continues to blow up, then she's going to have to expect that she's going to be exploited. And the way Hollywood is, she'll be exploited in the worst way. So it's really up to her to really determine how far she's willing to go in terms of the coonery spectrum. So basically, Hollywood is using Leslie Jones to further their nefarious agenda, basically to foment a race war, to basically keep blacks in that negative light, to keep them viewed in that negative light, to foster those negative stereotypes, especially about black women. So I'm sure she's fully aware of all this. So does this make her a savvy businesswoman or just a dark-sided Virgo coon? I want to know what you guys think, so please leave a comment below and let me know whether you feel like she's cooning or whether you feel like she's just clowning and she's being smart about it and she's being a savvy businesswoman. Because this is really interesting, especially considering the current racial climate in this country. So Leslie Jones is experiencing some key transits right now that point to the current barrage of racist remarks and insults that she has been receiving as a result of her role in the new Ghostbusters film. So transiting Jupiter is right on her Pluto in Virgo. Transiting North Node is right on her Sun in Virgo, and she is approaching her Mars return, as I said before. So with Mars and Scorpio in a critical degree, the question is, like I said, will she self-destruct or will she go harder and farther than she has gone to date? So let's see what the cards say. So those two transits that I spoke about, Jupiter being on her Pluto in Virgo and the North Node being on her Sun in Virgo, that deals with receiving criticism. And with Pluto involved, it could be like harsh criticism, like very dirty, very degrading. So very intense. So she's really going through it right now. And being a Virgo, she's just naturally vulnerable to criticism, and she's very hard on herself anyway. So, but of course, she put herself out there. She brought this on herself. But first, I'm going to draw a card to see. I'm going to draw a card to signify her. So let's see what her significator is. Just one second. So this is interesting. The card I got is the Emperor. This is the Wizard's Tarot deck, by the way. I love this deck. I'm addicted to it. So this is the Emperor card. The Emperor is masculine energy. It deals with the sign Aries. Now, the Emperor is about domination. It's about control. It's about power. It's about, like I said, masculine energy. It's about men. So Leslie Jones does carry herself in a very masculine manner. She just gives off, a lot of masculine energy. But also what the Emperor says, in my opinion, it deals with the racism, because Aries can deal with racism. It can deal with, in particular, the white race. So the Emperor also deals with success and achievement and ambition. So this is telling me that she has achieved a lot so far, especially with the Ghostbusters film. So she's at the top of her game, which is the Emperor is. The Emperor basically is victorious in battle. He's a natural warrior. So she's like really in battle right now in terms of, her status, but mainly because she has reached a certain status. Now she's experiencing that backlash, and again, it's through, receiving those racist comments, the Emperor. And the Emperor is never nice. Emperor is not sensitive at all. Very insensitive card, very insensitive energy. It's hardcore energy, hardcore Aries. So, and that can deal with hate as well. So that just shows where she's at right now. So like I said, that Emperor card shows success. It shows dominion in her field. However, what comes along with that is that racist backlash that she's experiencing. So let's see where she's headed. So the Emperor also is not too bad, in my opinion, in terms of describing her, because it's denoting strength. So to me, it's showing that she can, get past this and overcome this challenge that she's experiencing. She's not going to let it, kill her spirit. So where is she headed in terms of her career? Is she going to self-destruct, or is she going to go even further? So the card I received is the King of Swords. So the King of Swords is a very strong card. That's a card of firm conviction. It's a card of professionalism. It's a card of expertise. It's a card of having a strong mind and being independent. So this tells me that she'll be fine, that, she's headed towards more success, but that she's also going to be more discriminating when it comes to roles that she decides to play, and when it comes to even like spots and commercials and whatnot. So this tells me she does have Apollo conjunct her sun, and like I said, that can make one hard-headed, but maybe this time around with the King of Swords, it's showing that, now she might really learn from her lesson and maybe be more discriminating. Now, the problem with the King of Swords is this is a card where you're like, I'm not putting up with any bullshit. However, the King of Swords, like the Emperor, is very insensitive, is very hardcore. So this can deal with receiving a backlash in the Hollywood industry and being kind of blackballed as a result of standing up for herself and having more pride in who she is, and not taking on those coon roles anymore. She also was in Saturday Night Live. I've never seen her in any roles in Saturday Night Live, but let me know in the comments if you feel that she was cooning. From 456. Oh, that's my phone. Let me know if you feel that she was cooning on Saturday Night Live. But let me bring this closer. The King of Swords, he doesn't pull no punches. Like, he's straight up and down. He's very serious. He doesn't take any bullshit. So, like I said, she might create some enemies as a result of standing up for herself and not taking on some of those roles. So, as a result of not playing the coonery role, she might get blackballed, like I said. So, she might have to go the independent film route, or just be, she might be just relegated to a certain type of film. So, it doesn't look bad for her, and it does look like she's in a strong position right now, despite the negative backlash that she received. But she is always in a vulnerable position with that South Node at the 0 degree of Scorpio, Sun conjunct Pluto. She attracts crisis situations. Um, and also I'm pretty sure she's dealt with death, like up close and personal, probably with people in her life. And also Pluto can deal with manipulation and power plays and being exploited and subjugated, as well as the number 7 can deal with exploitation as well. And with her being a Virgo, she's just naturally vulnerable to criticism. But like I said, she has Mars in Scorpio, which gives her that strength and that resolve. And it's in trine to Chiron and Pisces. So I believe she'll make it through this, and she'll go on to do bigger and better things. But like I said, if she's not willing to play along with what Hollywood wants her to do, which is more coonery, rest assured, then she's going to have to go more of the independent route, which is that King of Swords. But either way, um, whether she goes the independent route or whether she decides to step out of the Hollywood game and do something else, I think she'll be fine regardless. So that's just my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos. The next video hopefully will be the dark sided Libra female. Stay tuned. Peace and blessings.